get your hands on a Blues development kit, $99 for a development kit. It comes with a Blues note card, cellular and Wi-Fi, globally roaming in 149 countries, includes 500 megabytes of data, a development board, antenna, and an MCU. All it needs is 2 lines of JSON code and power, and it's cloud connected.
Hello IPX, we are at CES 2025. We look for disruptive technology, as you know, and we've come across a company that I certainly have never heard of called Blues, and this is Paddy from Blues. So, we know what the first question is. The first question is always, if you didn't exist, what is the legacy thing, that the problem that Blues solve, so that we can then talk about how Blues solve it better. So, tell us about the environment of what this is.
Sure. Well, this is called a note card. If this didn't exist, you are looking at a do-it-yourself, build-it-your-own wireless communication system. Incredibly complex, incredibly arduous, and incredibly expensive and fail-proof.
Right.
Yep.
So what we're talking about is an IoT system,
Yep.
taking in data, all sorts of computational things going on, sensors potentially out in the field,
Yep.
information coming in, and the problem that you solve is getting data from that system up into the cloud or wherever you want to send it.
Exactly. I mean, we are simplifying and removing complexity and getting data from A to B. A to B being A, the device, the product, the physical thing, to the cloud. Simplifying that journey of transmission of data.
Right.
Yeah.
You call yourself an IoT company. In the everyday business of who are we helping get data off that system? What are the typical applications that you see every day where there's sensors in the field, we're getting data and we needed to get it up to wherever we need to get it to? What is your common customer platform, the profile of the people that you do business with?
I mean, we are a horizontal company when it comes to verticals. So, we don't say, hey, we're going to focus on ag tech or healthcare. Having said that, there are always certain wells which give you more water.
Yep.
So we see a lot of success in energy, industrial manufacturing, agriculture technology, medical technology. They're kind of the big four.
Right.
There are always edge cases. We have people who are tracking racehorses and they have collars on their necks to make sure they don't die and overheat. Genuine
Yes.
million-pound horses. So
Yes.
there's always edge cases, but they're kind of the 4 main ones. The profile of the people using the technology, people who are concerned about time to market and focusing on their core competencies, not becoming an IoT company.
No.
If you are building the best oil and gas well or pressure gauge, go and build that pressure gauge.
Absolutely.
Don't become an IoT company. That's why we exist.
Yes.
Focus on that.
Yes. Right. So we know that the whole game that you're in, the way you solve the problem for design engineers in IoT companies in the target market you've just said, is getting the data from that, the communications from that, out. So now that we know, we discussed the context of what you do and how you do it, the company's called Blues. Tell us what it is that differentiates you now that we know you exist. Why they know that they will have a legacy solution to how they get that data off because they didn't know that you existed.
Yeah.
Now that we've introduced them, and obviously you do that better than we do, but now we've introduced them, tell us what the actual issue is that you solve that will make them think, hang on a minute, I ought to go and talk to Blues to understand why I'm not an IoT company, why I'm a brilliant oil and gas company, and I need to go and talk to Blues to get my data from my racehorse or from my racehorse and my oil rig up into the cloud.
Yeah.
Tell us what your differentiator is.
So I'm going to start this by talking about services-centric companies. So we're in a world where everybody is looking at how do I become services-centric, not product-centric. That all sits around data. And the kind of legacy model is go and build something, go and build it yourself. One, it's not scalable and it's incredible. The risk profile is very high. So our differentiator is you can take the technology, it's multi-radio, so you can make design decisions very early on in the design phase.
Right.
Commit.
Which I take it is something that you would recommend.
Which we would recommend and we would help with as well. So we would have eyes on that. And what we do is we say, go and build your product. Don't worry about what radio you need. If you think you deploy it in the Middle East, you think you deploy it in the Outback, don't worry about that. Because what we'll do is we'll give you a form factor of a product, which is plug and play, the same code and one single API to the cloud. So you focus on the product and the connectivity is an afterthought. It's a two-way door decision. I think beforehand, you've got engineers and designers making walled garden decisions very early on in the design phase.
Yes.
Then we're breaking down those barriers and saying, go and build the product as you wish. You can think about the connectivity as an afterthought.
Before we started filming, we talked about, actually at the heart of this is time.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the basis of its time, surely it's the amount of data and the kind of data and how you get it off the system. Does that drive the communication platform that you use? So you have to have that discussion very early on.
Yeah, we would always want to understand the use case of what data and why and how much.
Yes.
For that metric, the biggest barometer of success our customers take away is the time to market for them to build a connected product and the time they get back to do the shit that matters.
Yes.
Right? Frankly.
Yes.
You know, there is, and engineers will know this, so I'm preaching to the converted here, but the complexity that is in the security, provisioning, certification of building a wireless IoT system is so immense. Like, those who haven't done it won't understand it, right?
Yeah.
We're removing that and saying, go and focus on what you actually do.
Yes. But the reason why I asked that is because the earlier they have that discussion with you, the more likely you are to give them the right solution to save the time to get the data away quickly. So there's no point, well, there's every point, but there's no point coming at the point that, oh, I've designed a system, now I want to get my data off system. So what do I do, Paddy? You go, you probably should have spoken to me 6 months ago.
It's always preferred earlier in the design.
That's what I'm trying to make that point.
It's earlier in the design cycle is preferred because we have experts and engineers who say, we've actually seen this use case before, we've seen this application before, and here's some recommendations, by the way, which might save you some time and maybe a shitload of money. I don't know. But that is always preferred. Having said that, we do rip and replace cases where people will do a sort of a V2 of a product and they'll say, we actually don't like what we've currently got, let's have a look at that. And it's possible, but
there's always going to be a scenario of legacy, and we're always trying to incrementally improve everything that we do. Okay, good. So we've understood that from racehorses to oil rigs, you get data off system, you save time, you will choose the right way to do that, and you will work with them. So if their choices are do it themselves or come and talk to you, we've just discussed the fact that that's it would be basically mad to do that. It'd be much better to come and talk to you early on. So if I'm a design engineer today and I want to get data off my system wherever it is, how do I come to you? How do I evaluate you? How do I then decide that you're the right solution for me? What's that process?
The best way to do it, get your hands on a Blues development kit. $99 for a development kit. It comes with a Blues note card, cellular and Wi-Fi, globally roaming in 149 countries, includes 500 megabytes of data, a development board, antenna, and an MCU. All it needs is 2 lines of JSON code and power, and it's cloud connected. That is the best way for any engineer to understand how you interface, how you evaluate, and is this actually going to solve any problems for you. We have a great developer community as well. Our documentation, our forum is all available, and we love to help. So if people have questions, queries, get a dev kit, ask some questions.
So what you've described is literally get the board, plug it in, off you go.
Yep.
As simple as that.
I'm not an engineer.
Yep.
But when I joined Blues, I took a development kit, and within 30 minutes, I'm writing JSON code and I'm programming to the cloud. So there you go.
Excellent, Paddy. Thank you very much. Thank you for introducing your company called Blues.
My pleasure.
Let's just remember racehorses to oil rigs. How do you get data from those to
everything in between?
And anything in between.
Yeah.
Come and understand what Blues can do with that development kit. We'll put the details of that in the video, and look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks. Cheers, Guy.
Very good.
Thanks.